Sudden cardiac arrest is an emergency in which the heart suddenly stops beating. An electrical issue makes the heart stop pumping blood. This deprives the cells of the oxygen they need.
And due to the lack of oxygen received by the cells, sudden cardiac arrest can then turn fatal in just minutes. This condition causes the sufferer to lose consciousness and even stop breathing. It may even cause permanent brain damage or even death. So let us get to know more about what sudden cardiac arrest is and how we can take steps to avoid or prevent such things from happening by having a discussion with a cardiologist, Dr. Renan Sukmawan, who is joining us online today. Good afternoon, Doc.
Hi, good afternoon, guys. Thank you for having a chance to join you here.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here talking about this particular condition that we all need to learn a little bit more about. So, could you start by telling us what is sudden cardiac arrest and what are some of the causes?
Yeah, as you mentioned and also shown by the clips before, sudden cardiac arrest is causing by anything that may cause stop of sudden loss of cardiac pumping, and also accompanied by unconsciousness and also stop breathing. So a condition that may cause sudden stop of heart beating is, we call this as sudden cardiac arrest or sudden cardiac death. Is that clear?
Yeah, it's clear. So it's followed with unconsciousness and heart stop.
Unconsciousness and
stop breathing as well, yeah, Doc?
Yeah, so the heart stops beating completely, suddenly. So what are so what are the differences between a cardiac arrest and a heart attack, or is that the same thing?
Okay, cardiac heart attack usually refer to condition that we call caused by what we call as acute coronary syndrome. Some sudden block of our coronary arteries that eventually causing the heart becoming stopped to beating. Now, sudden cardiac arrest mostly caused by heart attack, but also some causes that may result into this sudden cardiac, including arrhythmia, a disease causing some disturbance on heart rhythm, and some condition like cardiomyopathy. There's some disease or inherited disease usually that may result into what we call as low heart pumping ejection fraction that resulted into this condition. The other cause also, if somebody has a heart valve disease, especially aortic stenosis, the condition that causing a block or blockades into the flow of heart to all of your body, then this may also causing a sudden cardiac arrest or sudden cardiac death.
Okay, so glad you cleared that up for us, Doc, because a lot of people always kind of mention it as the same thing. However, a sudden cardiac arrest may be caused by a heart attack. However, there could be a lot of other factors as well. And a heart attack may not necessarily lead to sudden cardiac arrest.
Yes, and Doc, since you have mentioned some causes of sudden cardiac arrest, so maybe do you have any data, or what is the biggest number in Indonesia, particularly for the case of sudden cardiac arrest here?
As you mentioned before, there are lots of conditions. There are lots of news. Somebody get heart attack and then get cardiac arrest during some occasion, sport activity, or even during a meeting, and also some public figure fell down or found inside the car, and there is some condition like that. Mostly the most prominent cause of sudden cardiac arrest is heart attack. Heart attacks caused by, as I mentioned before, causing by sudden blockades of coronary artery. There are thrombosis there, and blood flow going into our coronary system that may cause into cardiac arrest. But not necessarily there. There are conditions in which you can also save the patient if the patient get a prompt treatment earlier. And so we can save some cardiac arrest condition, heart attack condition that may lead to cardiac arrest.
Okay. But you'd have to be very in tune with your symptoms, right?
Exactly.
And I just wanted to know what the symptoms, like if suddenly, you know, because people, I think, need to be educated and aware of what they are, because we've spoken about what these things are, but as a human being, we might not know what's going on inside our body. So what we do, what we feel are the symptoms. So what are the symptoms of a sudden cardiac arrest? Are there even symptoms, or usually people will only start feeling it when it's too late?
Yeah. At first, you have to know what we call the factors that may cause heart attack, especially mostly caused by coronary artery disease. Coronary disease is a certain condition that leads to development of atherosclerosis inside the coronary artery. That there are some risk factors that we already know, maybe like smoking, hypertension, diabetes, and also hypercholesterolemia, and also story of in the family which has history of sudden cardiac death or heart attack in young ages. That's of a story that you have to dig more in your family. If there is some condition like that, then you somebody has to do like annual checkup, and then by that condition we can know whether you already have developed coronary artery disease or not, and then we do some any prevention we can do. We can prevent that. We can treat the diabetes better. We can treat hypertension that prevent anybody have coronary artery disease. Because when you don't have coronary disease, then there are small chance of having heart attack. That's the most thing we have to educate our people, because as you know, many of our people here in Indonesia, especially young ages, have smoking. That's the worst thing here in the country, because I personally have some experience on young ages coming to me and have heart attack. The risk factors they only have smoking or smoker.
Right. So, Doc, let me ask you this then. You know, earlier there, while you were discussing these points, we saw images of people doing exercise. Exercise has changed and evolved over the years, Doc. We see now a lot of that was CrossFit functional training, which really does like push your heart rate to its limit. There's this stigma now, Doc. Like when I say I'm going to exercise, like, you know, day after day, I'll have a friend or a family member say, hey, don't work out too hard. You might have a heart attack. And I think there's this negative stigma when it comes to exercising hard. People now think, oh, if you exercise hard, something bad could happen to you. However, not many people know of the points you mentioned: family history, our background, our medical background, ourselves, what our other activities are like outside of exercise. So, how true is this stigma? If one of us goes to exercise, doing an intense exercise, we're going to run a full marathon, or we're running long distances, or cycling long distance, or doing CrossFit, what should we be doing to make sure that we don't have sudden cardiac arrest, or we don't put ourselves at high risk despite going through intense exercise?
Yeah, at first, look, sport is good, right?
Yes.
And to have exercise very good for heart, to prevent any cardiac disease. But at first, you really have to know whether you do have what we call as risk factor or not. The second one, risk factor. That's the risk that may causing heart attack, may cause death in the future. And the second one, there are some certain conditions that may cause sudden cardiac arrest due to arrhythmia. Your good coronary artery, you don't have risk factor. There are some inherited disease in your heart that may be seen in the pattern of your electrocardiogram.
Do you mean like irregular heartbeat, Doc?
Yes.
That's not necessarily irregular yet.
Okay.
But there are some sign in the ECG that may lead to some suspicious of some certain disease that may result into what we call a malignant arrhythmia, like is that we call as Brugada syndrome. Brugada syndrome is there are some disturbance in cells in our heart that may lead to malignant arrhythmia and then sudden cardiac arrest without coronary artery disease. So we do have our coronary system in heart that's blood flow pump to help to pump our heart, and we do have our electrical system. So electrical system can be detected from ECG. So that's very important to have check up first and make sure that your heart is good. You don't have any uncontrolled risk factor. Then you do exercise. It's very good because exercise also will prevent from any development of more severe cardiovascular.
And sorry, Doc, will these kind of test results be revealed just by doing a regular annual checkup, or is there a specific test we need to do?
Yeah, in routine medical checkup, people usually check their ECG, right? And then blood examination and physical examination. From that, we always suggest there are also one modalities should be included, like treadmill test, you know?
Yeah.
Exercise. Yeah. Treadmill test, you can see how the changes in your ECG when you're having exercise.
Under pressure.
Okay.
From that pattern of ECG changes, we can have a conclusion on whether you do have ischemic heart disease, coronary artery disease, whether you do have some pattern of arrhythmia, so disturbance on your electrical heart cardiac electrical pattern. Exercise, at least from that medical checkup, we can have some conclusion whether you're very good, your heart condition is good, or you need some additional checkup to make sure whether somebody something happened in your heart or not. And you know, in professional athletes, you know, in many countries, including I believe also Indonesia, they do have some integrated checkup, comprehensive medical checkup before going to professional exercise or professional sport.
That's a relief.
Well, it's like my husband has to do an MCU medical checkup every year because of it's a high intensity on-field job.
Right.
So there are certain jobs that require such treadmill tests and things like that. It's very interesting. But Doc, before we conclude our interview, don't go anywhere first, because you are going to be helping us right here, because my colleagues, my fellow hosts, we're going to play a mini game called Myth or Fact. So I will make a couple of statements, or give them a couple of statements, and you all need to guess, both of you, Paul and Akio, need to guess whether they're myth or fact.
Okay.
And then Dr. Renan will give us the explanation on whether they are correct or wrong.
Get yourself ready, Doc.
Are you ready?
Akira and myself are very competitive.
All right.
This is fun. Okay.
Yeah, somehow
This is fun.
through games we know better about it.
You know, I'm just glad that I'm in the middle of this right now. But okay, so the very first statement is we should avoid exercising after having a heart attack.
Oh.
Is it myth?
Myth
Both of
or
us?
fact? So both of them chose myth. What do you,
That's
doctor,
true.
say? Is it true?
That's true. It's myth. Yeah.
It's a myth.
Exercise post in the patient after heart attack is very important. What we call secondary prevention. It's very important to keep your exercise. Make sure that you do have your medication and also treatment for the heart attack.
Yeah, I think if I can add a little bit to that, I guess in moderation, right, Doc? If somebody is just coming off, recovering from a heart attack, they should slowly work their way into it. They should run out and run a marathon.
Yeah, it's just like injury recovery.
Yes, exactly.
Take some time, minor exercise. Okay.
1-1.
Yeah.
1-1.
Or just do it
on
the
deadlock after
pool, for example.
I love how Paul is just so competitive. We'll start with the second segment. Diabetes medication can avoid heart attack or prevent heart attack. Myth or fact? Both of them chose myth. Doctor, is it true?
Depend on what's your explanation on it. As you mentioned, diabetes. When you treat your diabetes very good, then it can prevent heart attack. It can prevent coronary disease. So this factor, as mentioned before, right? And somebody has diabetes, and they treat his or her diabetes very well, then it will prevent for coronary disease. That will and consequently, it will also prevent for heart attack. I would say it's probably close to true.
More true than false. So it's more like this, like somewhere in the middle.
So the message is people have to treat their diabetes well and to prevent development of coronary disease.
So it could be like an indirect treatment for it. Like,
but it's not a direct effect.
Correct.
It's not a direct effect.
Okay, so we got that one wrong. Let's just let's
so
just
it's
call
still
it.
Still 1-1, yeah.
So the next one, it's young people are not at risk for heart disease. Both of them said away.
An adamant myth.
Yeah.
Our doctor has just said about that.
Yes. The doctor just mentioned that one. Very good.
We're listening to you, Doc.
We're listening to you.
Yes.
That's a comprehension test. Well, the next statement is genetics are one of the factors of heart disease. Is that a fact? Both of them were fact. So which one is true, Doc? Is it a myth or is it a fact?
Yeah, that's true. As mentioned to you, family history is one of heart risk factor, and mostly caused by some genetic things happen in that family. So this to know whether there is some genetic traits that may lead to that. Some what we call a polymorphism, gene polymorphism. That is very important. If somebody has like risk factor in family, it could be or should be caused by any genetic factor in that family. Then we need to do some more testing on what kind of that disease or that disturbance on genetically to be revealed in that family.
There you go. All right.
Another one. Taking a shower immediately after working out is not recommended. I got one myth and one fact here, Doc. Which one is the right one?
Help us break the tie.
Okay, this is very intriguing question. But there are some studies on this. There are no statement that prohibit that. You can, if you want, to have your shower, because shower after exercise may result into lowering inflammation, may improve your blood, may improve blood flow, and I think good also for hygiene. So
my wife would agree.
I would also agree.
She won't let me in the house if I didn't shower after
it's neither
the gym.
fact.
So there's no scientific evidence to back it up and no statements ever made, so...
It is a myth.
On the fence, a myth.
It's a myth. So 2-1 for Paul.
All right.
Okay.
So who's the winner?
Not yet. We've got a couple more to go, Doc.
2-1.
Two more.
Okay, we'll do 2 more. Okay, next one is thin people are not at risk of heart disease. We have both myths. What do you say, doctor?
So thin people
are not at risk of having heart disease.
Yeah, it's myth. So thin people can also smoker. Though they can get a heart attack. So
yeah.
So it's a myth.
That's myth.
So
skinny fat is real, guys.
3-2 now. Skinny fat. Last one then. Few hours of vigorous exercise is good for heart health. True or false? Okay, both are definitely saying fact. So, doctor, a few hours of exercise, what do you say? Myth or fact?
Absolutely. We always encourage everybody to get...
Yay!
Okay. How many hours per week, Doc, as recommended by most doctors and health?
Yeah, at least 1 or 2 hours, at least 30 minutes in most of the days, 5 times a week, at least.
5 times a week?
Yeah, 5 times a week, at least 3 times if you don't have enough time, but to do to have your time for exercise is very important.
Yeah, that one we all know is a fact. We just sometimes don't want to face that fact. Doc, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for being
And the total is 4-3
Yay!
Which means Paul is taking it home.
Congratulations, Paul.
Right, I get a nasi kotak to bring home from...
Doc Renan, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And see you on the next cardiovascular issue that we'd love to discuss with you.
Stay healthy, Doc.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.